I request Dr. Archana Sharma to give her talk today on student exchange. Dr. Archana.
Thank you very much, Professor Kannan. Could I have a share screen, please? Because I still...
Yeah, I'm trying to see how do I stop share?
I have stopped your sharing. Professor Banerjee, Archana ji, you can actually share your screen now.
Okay, good, very good. And please tell me if you can see my screen after that, right?
Your voice.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Very good. And you can see my screen as well?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So the topic that we discussed was really about the opportunities in mega science projects, particularly for students and budding scientists, and of course addressing nearly the crisis that was just discussed by Professor Banerjee just now, and also by Professor Vijayaraghavan. It was mentioned very starkly that we do need to skill up, so to speak. So what is mega science really doing? Mega science is seeking answers to very big questions, starting from the Big Bang and the atom, the very tiny atom, and going up to extragalactic scales. And this is the curiosity which has driven to a lot of scientists in India, where we have some extremely essential physicists and scientists who are part of this heritage that we carry with us, and we would like now to go and build a future heritage. That's really the matter that we are looking at. What is our future heritage? And of course, we have a large number of challenges in order to get there, because we are looking at an age group which is very young at the moment. And we need to ensure that when they come of age, they are upskilled, they are plugged in the national programs, they are plugged in international projects, they are aligned with sustained development goals, and of course, we have employability, employment in a very sustained manner in our country. So that's the kind of challenge we face. So given my humble experience at CERN now for over 33 years, I have been looking at how Europe is doing it and somehow taking some lessons for our country. So here, of course, we are doing the science. We are asking questions about the universe, but we start projects which are very, very long in terms of timing, so to speak. In 1984, the Large Hadron Collider was approved and we got the first beams in 2010. Nobody knew the technologies that will be deployed in these decades, and yet we got there and we continued to innovate, building tools and techniques. And these technologies and scientific advances eventually contribute to the economy. I'm sure you know that in Europe, 1.45 trillion euros is the contribution of physics to the economy. So certainly we can maybe not go to that level, but at least we can have a visionary plan of how we can leverage and exploit our own participations in these kind of projects. So I will not go in the details of which projects and so on, because this is known to everybody. But needless to say that CERN hasn't stopped at what has happened in the past decade, which means that we have received a Nobel Prize to Professor Francois Englert and Professor Higgs. And of course, the good news is that everyone was a part of it. It was not just these two people, but there is a huge amount of collaboration that went behind producing that one plot that corroborated what these two gentlemen actually proposed in 1964. So just the nature of the science and the nature of the work tells us that planning and making a basis for a true roadmap towards a true global collaboration is the way to go. And it's not that our government is not thinking about it. They have been working concertedly at this. And as you see here, there is a very strong bilateral. Yes?
Dr. Archana, your presentation is not visible. Because
the presentation is visible, but it's not, you're not changing the slides.
Slides, yeah.
Now.
So now you can see. I'm sorry.
You're in the slide only on the PPT.
Here,
you just shift to the presentation mode.
I went to the presentation mode, and that's why it was not changing from what I understood from you. I just switched back to. I can try again, but we may. So let's just go like this if you agree.
No problem. No problem. Yeah.
So yes, the strong bilateral cooperation for scientific research and education has been the focus. And I was so fortunate to also listen to Professor Anil Kakodkar just in the previous session. And here you can see him when he was at CERN and setting the direction of how we should be going in the future. And you see Professor Kalam, he came at CERN as well and encouraged all of us here. You see Dr. Shekhar Basu here, who signed the associate agreement with CERN. And of course, who doesn't know our Priya Pradhan Mantri Modi ji, who also came to Geneva to encourage our students. So yes, these are our people who have actually participated in that Nobel Prize that was given in 2013. And you know, perhaps Rohini Godbole, who is, she has received honors, a lot of honors in India, and also Professor Atul Gurtu from the Tata Institute. But the good news is that we have several universities also engaged in this process. So why I mention universities? Because we have 700 universities in the country, and perhaps I have an old number and I did not look carefully at the statistics shown before. But these universities represent an immense potential, an immense intellectual potential, and we need to move from the incremental research that's going on, just pushing towards producing, papers after papers, but then let's look at the citations and let's look at where we stand on the global scale. And that's where we need to examine ourselves. As I mentioned, that the mega science projects are really very long-term projects. Our governments are not that long, so to speak, but we need to be pragmatic and we need to engage at the forefront. And for that, we need this long view that if we engage with a make in India kind of approach, like Professor Raghavan said, design and build, not just copy and build, which was the Chinese model. I think because we have the intellectual potential and we have demonstrated intellectual potential in the various programs that our country has. So without going through the names here, because this would take another lecture, so to speak, but you can already see the various mega science projects where we are participating, and they are all at the cutting edge of science itself for researchers and technology for the engineers, for technicians, for school students to be doing their projects, because this happens in United States. It happens in Europe as well. These programs are well plugged in to the youngest kid that is interested to follow science and STEM subjects, so to speak. So we need collaboration, we need the contribution and the commitment to actually follow through and stand on the shoulders of the giants that have come before us already from India, who made the platform for us to take off. And needless to say that particle physics, where I work, is very closely linked with innovation, with engineering, with education, training, forecasting, and so on. So, I mean, there's lots and lots of things that can be done. Just to say that 70% of the graduates from physics, they end up in various industries. And that's where we need the engagement of our industries into our mega science projects in a very big way. And that's also something that we need to proactively work on. And there was an initiative last year, you may have heard about the Vigyan Samagam. That was an exhibition which went from city to city. And of course, it attracted a large number of students and so on. But that was an exhibition. And now let's move to the science, where we partner, we build, and we build towards leadership essentially in all these projects, and it's possible. The main point is that we have not, up to today, been able to be at the forefront of these international projects and of that scale essentially. So yes, that's what we want to do. And there are many, many opportunities. I give you one example that in this experiment where I work called CMS, crystals have been used to detect particles in our experiments. But then applications have immediately been spun off, and positron emission tomography scanners have been built by GE in United States, and each one of these costs $250 to $600 $. And 1.5 million PET scans are performed per year in the US. It's a model that we should and must take on. Again, looking at the future, we should build facilities. If we compare to China, China has 5 projects of the kind of cancer treatment, for example, if I take this as an example. So making a very cost-effective cancer treatment in India, it's not going to be a bolt from the blue like the pandemic, but we know that it's there. There are 1.5 million cases of new cancer every year in India. So this is a zone where we should... Yes?
Time is up.
Just winding up. Yeah. So you see, there are many opportunities, and I think that I can just go to my this slide, let's say, where we can engage with the teachers for teacher training, with the students as well, as we mentioned earlier, for projects, engineers and researchers as well. And definitely there is lots of scope, which I'm also working with my foundation, and many thousands of students and teachers are engaged. So I will just take one more minute, but before that, I want to mention that in the last year at the GIST, I met this young lady called Shweta, and together we launched a book, and this book is called Nobel Dreams of India. So I'm going to just play this, and it is only 1 minute, my last minute. Thank you very much. Is it playing?
No, you need to click play.
Let's try again.
You just
What sound?
Sorry?
The sound is coming, no moving.
Just a moment. Give me a moment. I don't know why. Is it working?
Archana ji, if the slide is in the presentation mode, then it will work.
Let me try. Okay, let's try. This